Welcome to Larry's Library and welcome to another Top 10 Tuesday. Now, this month I've got for you my top 10 favorite crime movies. Something a little bit different, not comic related precisely. This is my top 10 favorite crime films of all time. Now, as always, I got to have a disclaimer here. This is how I feel about it right now, and most of this was off the top of my head, just kind of from memory. I mean, I looked up some details for context, but as far as the selection, it's off the top of my head now, and I'm quite certain that some of my viewers here are going to list theirs in the comments, and I'm going to be like, oh shit, I forgot all about this or that movie, and then it just changes the whole thing. But this is what I got for you now, and I'm going to go in reverse order as always. Number 10 is Petrified Forest. This is a 1938 film directed by Archie Mayo. Mayo? Not sure. M-A-Y-O. But this is a Humphrey Bogart film that I hardly ever hear anybody talking about, but it's great. It's a very tense drama set in Arizona's Petrified Forest or out that direction. Isolated restaurant. It's good. Good stuff. Number 9, I've got The Big Sleep. Another Humphrey Bogart vehicle. This one is 1946 and was directed by Howard Hawks. A lot of people probably seen The Big Sleep. If you haven't seen it, I know you've heard about it. Lauren Bacall's in it. It's good stuff. Check it out. Number 8 for me is Casino by Martin Scorsese. Now, this came out in 1995. It's got an all-star cast. Joe Pesci, Robert De Niro, Sharon Stone, James Woods. And yeah, it's good stuff. Number 7 is Goodfellas. Another Scorsese film. This is from 1990. Of course, it's Robert De Niro, Ray Liotta, and of course, the irrepressible Joe Pesci. More great stuff. That was a Martin Scorsese directing Joe Pesci. It kind of can't miss. So if you haven't seen that, somehow watch that one. Number 6 is another film I never hear anyone mention in these lists, but I feel like it needs to be in a list of favorite crime movies, and that is Badlands. Badlands came out in 1973. Of course, I seen it on video sometime in the 80s, when renting VHS tapes was a thing. And this one is directed and written by Terrence Malick. And it stars Martin Sheen and Sissy Spacek. And this movie is grim. I mean, Martin Sheen is this garbage man. And I think he's supposed to be like maybe 18, 20 years old. And Sissy Spacek's character is like 16. And they get together. And he ends up taking her on a wild crime spree. And man, you watch it, if you haven't seen it, you'll be surprised this came out in 1973. I mean, it's pretty grim, and it is great. It's the cinematography in this is just beautiful. It is a stunning looking movie, as well as a great story with great actors. Number 5, I've got Reservoir Dogs. Now, this, of course, is written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. I mean, I don't think it gets much better than that. Reservoir Dogs is funny and violent and a heck of a good time. You've got Harvey Keitel, Tim Roth, Michael Madsen is fantastic in it, Steve Buscemi. Quentin Tarantino plays Mr. Brown, I believe. He's one of the characters, one of the main characters too. It's fantastic stuff. Number 4, I've got Leon the Professional, a.k.a. The Professional. Now, this one came out in 94 and it's directed by Luc Besson. And it stars Jean Reno. And in her film debut, Natalie Portman. Now, this movie has kind of got a cult following, but it was fantastic. And if you haven't seen The Professional, you need to check this out. Natalie Portman is just fantastic from start to finish. It's hard to believe this is her acting debut, although she's so young. I mean, it's just crazy. It's crazy how good this movie is. And if you haven't seen it, you're doing yourself a disservice. Check out The Professional, a.k.a. Leon the Professional. Number 3, I have True Romance. Now, this is kind of another one that's overlooked a lot of times, I think, but I love this film. True Romance came out in 93, directed by Tony Scott, and this is with a script by Quentin Tarantino. And originally, I understand Quentin Tarantino was planning on directing this himself. He hadn't directed yet at this point. But I think he couldn't get the deal to come through or something, so he ended up just selling the script, and that's how this came about. Tarantino says this is his most autobiographical script yet, or ever, I should say, because the character in it works at a video store at the beginning, and that character is played by Christian Slater to great effect. He's awesome in it. As you probably know, if you're a film buff of any kind, Quentin Tarantino worked in a video store, a video rental store before he became a writer and director. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's really funny, and it's got tons of violence and an action-packed plot. It's great. But like I said, it stars Christian Slater and Patricia Arquette. Dennis Hopper is fantastic in it. Val Kilmer plays Elvis in it. Yeah, for sure. Christopher Walken is in it. Gary Oldman is fantastic in this one. And you've also got Brad Pitt in a bit part. He's like a pothead in it, if I remember right. So yeah, if you haven't seen True Romance, you got to see it. It's great. And that's why it's number 3 in my top 10 favorite crime movies of all time. Number 2 is Pulp Fiction. And of course, this is Quentin Tarantino writing and directing here, bringing John Travolta as an actor back out of obscurity and into the spotlight here. And man, it is a tour de force. Samuel Jackson, fantastic in this. You've got Uma Thurman is great in it. And there's probably a ton more actors that I'm overlooking here. But yeah, Pulp Fiction, I mean, probably don't need to say much about this one. It's very well known. But it is my number 2 favorite crime movie of all time. But my number 1 favorite crime movie of all time is all about this. And I'm talking about The Maltese Falcon, the 1941 version. There's a couple or 3 versions of this film, but I think the best one is the 1941 Humphrey Bogart version, which was directed by John Huston. And it has got an all-star cast. It has Sidney Greenstreet. It has Peter Lorre is fantastic in it. Of course, Humphrey Bogart and plenty of others. But they're all in pursuit of this. The Maltese Falcon, a.k.a. the Blackbird. This guy right here. But there are so many twists in the plot, so many twists and turns and comedic elements and dark film noir magic in this. I can't see this movie enough. I've probably seen it, I bet probably 25 times in total. And then I've seen clips of it, many more times than that. And just talking about it, I want to see it again right now. But if you haven't seen the 1941 Maltese Falcon, go check it out. It is my number 1 favorite crime movie of all time. I hope you like taking a look at these, and I will see you next time. Subscribe if you haven't already.